Whatever book I'm reading, that's typically what I'll dream about. My brain will fester on that all night. I was reading all these techniques of how to write a good title. I woke up that morning with 5 titles right off the top of my head. Good morning, heroes. This week we are fine-tuning our sleep. You know, the whole point of being a morning hero is to wake up with momentum to get the day started every day. And a big part of that is what time you went to bed and, you know, how good was your sleep so that you can wake up with momentum. We put a heavy emphasis on how we go to bed, more specifically that last hour before we go to bed, because that'll determine, you know, what time we go to bed, the quality of the sleep we get, and if we're able to get up early, you know, shining like the sun. So that last hour, we call that the power down hour. And so this week we're in the Power Down Hour Challenge, where we're essentially designing our nighttime routine. A routine in general. A routine is just a series of actions. It's a set of events that triggers the mind into a different state. Just like our morning routine will trigger us into the, you know, being up and, you know, getting momentum for the day. So the things you do in the morning, you get up, you brush your teeth, you get your coffee. Each step of that process, that routine, you know, is designed to get you up and kind of moving for the day. So a routine is just a step-by-step set of actions that triggers the mind into a different state. What we need to do is design a nighttime routine that's going to trigger us into a sleep state. Now, you know, I'm a brand new parent and we have a 1-year-old son. And if you ask any new parent, the first thing you talk to a new parent, the first thing you ask them is, how's your sleep? Because you know that, you know, having a newborn, your sleep is going to be very erratic because they wake up all throughout the night. And so the first thing you do when you're raising a kid is you go through sleep training. And sleep training is you're just trying to train them to be able to go to sleep on time and sleep throughout the night. And when you're sleep training a child, me and my wife got really deep into this. This is actually like multi-million-dollar business. There are people with degrees and there are dedicated consultants and coaches just for sleep training. It's a whole industry. And so we got really deep into trying to get our jet sleep trained. One of the most effective tactics is to design a sleep routine or a nighttime routine for the child. What you're trying to do is you're trying to take this child with all this built up energy. They're running, they're going, they got all this adrenaline. And then you don't just expect to lay them down and then they immediately be able to shut that down and go to sleep. You have to walk them through a process that's going to trigger their brain into a calm, soothing sleep state. And so like for us, our nighttime routine with him is first thing we do is give him a bath. Then we put his PJs on, then we put on this little white noise machine. And then we pull a book out and read him a book and then give him a bottle and then he nurses to sleep. Like those 5 steps, and it's every single night. It's the same process. And over time, what happens is like the brain starts to recognize the triggers. It starts to recognize the routine. So the minute we get him ready for the bath, his brain now knows that, okay, this is the first step of the process. We're about to go to sleep. We're in process of going to sleep. And so by the time we get to reading the book, he's already yawning. The brain has been triggered into this routine, so it knows to start winding down. Again, you can't just take them all amped up and ramped up and then just immediately expect them to go to sleep. You have to systematically walk them through a process. Now, we as adults, all we are just big babies. So just like how a baby needs a nighttime routine to take all this pent up energy and wind them down to turn their brain off, we need a process too. We need a routine, a set of triggers that's going to trigger our brain to turn off, essentially, that's going to release all the anxiety from the day, all the obligations and stress that we were up under, all the tasks and things that we need to deliver and perform. We need a way for our brain to be able to shut that off and release that so it can effectively turn off and go to sleep. So your routine, your nighttime routine, is a set of triggers. This is an example of my nighttime routine. I have my power down hour alarm set on my phone, and when the power down hour alarm goes off, it's my trigger. It's my trigger to just start bringing the night to a close. So at that point, I stop engaging with my phone. I stop engaging with my computer and email and anything work related that I might have been trying to, close off for the night. I stop engaging with that. I go brush my brush my teeth, wash my face, and kind of put on my nighttime gear. And then I cozy up to a book, whatever book I'm reading. I keep a stack of books on my nightstand, and whatever the book is that I'm reading that, at that current time, I pick it up and I start reading. And that's my routine. So it's to the point now where by the time my alarm goes off, my brain starts to recognize this pattern. It recognizes this flow. So this is just a way where I'm trying to trigger my brain to turn off. So from the time the alarm goes off to the time I start brushing my teeth, my brain already knows that, okay, we're in process of winding down. And again, I'm just trying to get my brain to shut off, because if I just tried to lay down, my brain would not shut off. It's going. I'm thinking about everything. So I need a way to systematically bring that down to a close so it can release all of that, so I can go to sleep and then be able to stay asleep. Because it's not just going to sleep. Half the time it's staying asleep. I wake up all throughout the night when I have stuff, that's weighing on. My brain is still processing. That's why I wake up throughout the night. Having a nighttime routine is a way to trigger your brain, to give it permission to release those things so that it can go to sleep and stay asleep all throughout the night. So that way you can get up with energy. Most people don't even recognize you have a routine. Maybe your routine is surfing through Instagram and laying in bed, playing on your phone. That's not a healthy routine. You'll notice here it says build a healthy routine. We're trying to turn our brains off. So you don't want to do anything that's going to engage your brain. Essentially, you have to stop doing anything that engages your brain, because the more you engage your brain, the more you're firing those synapses, and it's going to ignite and keep you up. So you're trying to turn your brain off. So your routine should not involve anything that's engaging your brain. I'm going to put a heavy emphasis on releasing digital devices. I also want to explain a little bit about why I read at night. We used to watch, me and my wife, we love murder mysteries. So we used to watch forensic files at night. That'd be the last thing we watch before we go to bed. And I was wondering why I was waking up at 1 a.m., 3 a.m. Like I would wake up periodically every 2 hours all throughout the night. It's just like if you watch a scary movie, right? Don't you tend to dream about that scary movie in your sleep? What I learned is the brain will attach itself to the last thing you feed it right before bed. And that's why I wasn't getting good quality sleep, because we were watching forensic files right before bed. So then I started reading before bed. And this concept of your brain will attach itself to the last thing you feed it before you go to bed is so true, because whatever book I'm reading, that's typically what I'll dream about. My brain will fester on that all night. So now I read personal development books before bed. It's just another way for me to deepen the learning, because throughout the night, my brain is still processing the lesson that I just read. And it's crazy. I remember one time I was reading a book on writing. I'm learning how to write. I'm going to write a book. This particular chapter is how to write a good title for the book. And so I was reading all these techniques of how to write a good title. That's what I was reading right before I went to bed. I woke up that morning with 5 titles right off the top of my head. Essentially, while I was sleeping, my brain took that lesson and built 5 good book titles for me. And I woke up and I ran right to my notepad and started writing them down. Your brain will continue to process whatever you feed it right before you go to bed. So part of my routine is I want to feed my brain something healthy before I go to bed, because that's what I want it to fester on all night long. That's what I want it to process. I don't want it to process murder mysteries. I don't want it to process the fear of missing out that I get from checking my Instagram account, or jealousy and envy from seeing people on Facebook. I don't want my brain to process all that overnight. I want it to process something that's going to push me forward in some way. So I personally like to read a personal development book right before bed to give my brain something good to chew on all throughout the night. And I tend to have better sleep quality when I do that. So that's just a little tip of why I like to shut off all my digital devices and read right before bed. What is going to be your healthy process that you're going to systematically walk your brain through to shut it down so that you can go to sleep on time and then stay asleep all throughout the night, so you can wake up with vibrant energy so you can dominate the day? So that's your task, is to design your healthy nighttime routine. See you, heroes.